We're live. And hey, Randall Dexter was the first one on here, and Wendy Leverage, and wow, look at you guys all. Look at them all. Come on.
I know, I'm impressed.
I am impressed as well. It is great to see everybody. Welcome to our special live stream. And it's spring. When is spring? Is just like
It's the 21st.
so. It's
right around the corner.
6 days away from
Not
right
far.
now. Can you believe that?
Not long at all.
Yeah. I looked at, we're in Florida for all of you there. I looked at our video of our cameras around our property in Western Michigan, and the grass is actually getting green there.
Oh boy.
It was also sunny there today, and it's dense fog here on the Gulf Coast. It was warm, 73 and humid, but dense fog.
Yeah. Oh, the fog has been incredible.
This has been the worst winter we have ever spent in Florida.
What are you going to do?
Still warmer than most places, but barely. Everybody's so warm. Hey, listen, we've got a bunch of you on, and tonight we are going to talk about spring cleaning, getting your RV ready for a camping season. What are some of the things that you should do? And I should point out that we have posted on our blog, rvlifestyle.com, a couple of articles just this week. They give you lots of detail of what we're going to talk about. But let's just say hi to everybody for a while. Randall Dexter is in North Carolina. Brian Snyder is in Northeast Ohio. Wendy Boyer, hi Wendy, from Southeast Michigan. Leslie Crolin from Jupiter, Florida. James Gibson from Isla Mirada, Florida, down in the start of the Keys. Mary Haminga in Oklahoma. Mike and Bernice Zostek from Abbotsville, British Columbia, Canada. Richard Carrero, Massachusetts. Very happy he got a notification that we're live.
Good.
And obviously we're live on our community here.
Mm-hmm.
And Phyllis Kerr is there in Iowa, is in the house. Pam Famous in Fort Myers, just returned from looking at RV land in Arizona. I'm going to tell you about a new development in Arizona just on Wednesday's podcast. We just learned about it. We'll tell you about it then. David Herman from Townsend, Tennessee. Antonio Franco, Menfree, California. Marcia in Beverly Hills, Michigan. And Pam Miller in Owenton, Kentucky. And I'm out of breath, so I'm not going to read any more, but we're glad you're there.
And don't ask me because it's a little too far away.
You guys can ask us questions, and we will do our best to answer them as we see them. And we're just going to kind of talk about getting ready for your spring and summer camping season.
All right. Do you want to know what I do?
Yeah, let's start with what you do.
Okay. What I do is I don't leave food in the RV over the dead of winter.
Not even canned food.
No.
Because it could freeze, it could explode, right?
Well,
Yeah.
I just don't. Even my sheets and things I bring in. If I know I'm not going to go camping for a while, I bring things in, except maybe a couple jackets. I might leave some jackets out there. So what I like, my tools are to get a handheld vacuum or else an attachment on your vacuum. Take everything out of the drawers, and first I vacuum out any crumbs or anything that might be in there.
Now, you've already done some of this before you put the RV to bed in the fall. Although we camp all year round. But
obvious crumbs. I don't want to encourage mice.
Yeah.
But I vacuum out, and that'll give you an idea if you did have mice in your
You'll see
RV or spiders or whatever you might have in there. And then I like to wipe things out. And my favorite thing to clean with is Murphy's oil soap. My mother used that, and I like the smell of it. There's a lot of different cleaners out there. Murphy's oil soap is what I use. So I'll get a bucket with some water, dilute it, and I'll wipe out everything and make sure it dries well.
And then it smells so clean.
You're just used to it. And then I might replace plastic that I put in there, like the
Shelf paper?
well, I don't know exactly the correct term nowadays, but I'll get some kind of something to put in there so things don't rattle, and just put it in there if I want to. Or I'll wash out the tray, obviously, for the silverware. I will think seriously about the way I had everything arranged, spatulas and all that, all those sort of things. Did I have them in the right spot? And what don't I use? Because why carry it if I don't use it? And what should I have there? What would make my life a little bit easier? And the most important place to me to clean is under the sink. And if you're going to have mice come in, that's normally where they come in.
Where the pipes come up through the
Yep,
floorboards.
water and everything under the sink. And just get on my hands and knees and really look around and vacuum and wipe that all down really good. I wipe down everything, the outside of the cabinets, the inside of the cabinets, the windows on the inside, blinds. It depends on what kind of blinds you have. Do you have a cloth blind that maybe I should get my vacuum and vacuum that blind? Or is it some sort of plastic type surface that I need to wipe that down? Again, my Murphy's oil soap on a soft rag is what I like to use.
Usually a microfilter, those little microfiber, they call them cloths.
Yeah, I've got
Or regular
different
cloth,
rags,
yeah.
whatever I feel like using. And the sink is always like a Clorox wipe. That gets wiped out really, really good. Everything in the sink gets totally wiped down. If you have a propane stove, cooktop, I keep up on that. Whenever I use it, I don't let that build up because, boy, that builds up. That's a bear. It's really hard to get it
You
clean.
mean crumbs and stuff that
Well,
burn?
it burns on,
Yeah.
things burn on. So I try to wipe up. And again, I guess I'm a little crazy because I don't want to encourage mice to come in our rig at all. And so all wood surfaces are wiped down inside and out. Blinds are either vacuumed or wiped down. The floor is like right after I vacuum out the inside of all the drawers, I vacuum the floor because why would I not vacuum the floor? Because the vacuum picks up a lot of that big stuff. And after I'm done with the big stuff and the attachment to get into corners and under chairs, we have a very hairy dog. So, I get lots of vacuuming to do. And I might or I might not, if I feel like doing a good job, I'll get on my hands and knees and wipe the floor up by hand. And any mirrors, I'll wipe those down. Just my sheets, towels,
Now, those are
pad
all
holders.
those are all in the house that you bring out, right?
Well, yeah,
Or
I
do you
wash
leave-
them.
what do you leave out?
I wash them. I have seen mice make nests out of like plastic bags under the sink, rags under the sink. I just got this mouse thing going. So I want everything clean and fresh. I'm a little crazy because I have allergies. And that's why we have an RV, is so that I don't have to stay in a hotel room, that I have my clean space that I live in. And if you need a new shower curtain, if you have a wet,
Oh, yeah, wet bath. Yeah,
bath,
smaller RVs
yeah.
have those. Yeah.
you might, I would get a new shower curtain if I use that a lot, because mold, tends to grow on shower curtains. I just wiped down all the walls. I think because when my kids were young and they had allergies, it was like once a month I had to wipe down their bedroom walls. I just get a little crazy with wiping down and cleaning.
Now, I should say that she does this usually in the fall after we finish the major trips. We use our RVs all year round. So some of these things she does every time we go out on a trip, no matter what, whether we're getting ready for spring or not.
Spring
But-
gets more than fall.
Yeah. but-
I just got to make sure I don't have anything to
Phil-
lure mice in.
Phyllis Kerr just typed that Jennifer needs to come to my house. And that's true. And Wendy says you can come to Wendy Boyer's house as well. Yeah, we could start another side business.
Yeah.
Jen's
in
cleaning
fact,
service.
You get upset with me because I clean too much.
No, I reap the benefits of it because it is a clean RV. But these are springtime things that you should do in the inside.
Right. I want it squeaky clean.
Rugs. What about rugs?
Oh, the rugs,
Vacuum,
I-
knock them around a little bit outside.
it depends on
Replace
how
them.
clean they were when you stored them in the fall. If you didn't wash them in the fall, when you put them away, wash them. I mean,
Mary-
if you got everything else clean, why not clean the rug?
So now we can get you to Oklahoma. Mary Hemminga is ready to take you out there too. And that's good. They're all
It's
calling
kind
you
of a pain being a detailed person.
a clean freak.
I am
Yeah.
a clean freak.
And that's good.
You know it.
All right. So those are the kind of things, and you have to judge it by, your own standards and that you want to do. But your RV, if it has, particularly if it's been sitting a while, needs that freshening up. It really does. Now, there are some stuff outside that I'll talk about now. And Jennifer mentioned how she cleans out if you have a gas burners on your stove, she cleans those. If you have a propane heater on the outside, the first thing you want to do is go look at that propane heater and check the vent on it, check the vent on the refrigerator. You can do that from outside. And make sure bugs, spiders have not made nests in there, or mice, but particularly bugs and spiders. They love the smell of propane, even when it's just lingering and it's not necessarily turned on. So clean that out. And later in the year, you want to go back and make sure bees, because bees love propane, the smell of propane, and they'll make nests in there. And you want to make sure that's regularly done. But some general basic things to do every spring. Replace your water filter. The most important health thing I can say about RVing is have a good water filter. We put links on all of our show notes. The one that I use is the Pure Taste water filter. It's just a little one from Camco. I used to do this big green 2-stage thing from H2O, and that's a good filter. It really is. It's a little expensive, but now I use the Pure Taste from Camco, and it's very reasonable. Always start the season with a new water filter. Yes, Jennifer.
I don't know if you're going to mention or not your faucet to unscrew to make sure there's no stones in there.
Oh yeah, I'll get to that.
Am I stealing your thunder?
Actually, I should write that down. The water pump, not the faucets too. Yeah.
Yeah, the faucets. You said for me to do the
Yep.
inside, so
Yeah.
I didn't know if that was yours or not.
Well, that's actually both inside and out. So I'll come to that in a minute. So replace that water filter, and you want to throughout the season replace that about every 90 days. If you're a heavy camper, if you only camp a few times, so much. But understand this. You're never going to get all the water out of that when you break camp and you put the filter away, and you don't want that filter to be wet and damp in there and in a hot, warm place where you store it in your RV, because bacteria will develop, and then you've kind of defeated the filter's purpose, because it's to keep bacteria out. So along with that water thing, I also want to say replace your drinking hose. Get a new hose every year. Same thing, you have used that hose the previous year, you've wound it up, you've never gotten all of the water out. Although I talked to one guy who told me that he blows his out with an air compressor every time he breaks camp.
Wow.
That's a little anal for me. I wouldn't do that, but nevertheless, I would replace, and I do, our water hose, drinking water hose. The one I like now, we've tried every hose over our things, is also from Camco. And it is called I think it's called the Evo hose, EVO. It's Evo flexible. It's very flexible. It doesn't have a memory. It doesn't kink. And of course, it's BPA free and all that stuff. And Jennifer has another point.
Were you going to mention, I think probably the most important thing with winding up your hose is to always wind it up same direction, same size loops and everything. And don't spare the expense in getting the Velcro strips to hold.
Yeah.
You don't like it comes unwound and it gets all crazy.
Yeah, I get a little clamp that I buy from Home Depot and use
Get
it.
something.
But the beauty of this Evo flexible one is it doesn't develop a memory, and you can easily wind it up.
Okay.
And by the way, it is okay to wind your hose up when you store it after you're using it, from the pump to the thing. It's okay because it looks neat, particularly you boaters, drives you
Takes up
nuts to see hose line and all.
room.
It's okay to do that with water. It is not okay to do that with your electrical cord. You don't want to coil your electrical cord when it's hooked up to the input and into the camper or the RV, because it gets hot if it's coiled up like that. Okay.
Didn't know that.
Okay, there you go. Now, you mentioned the water filters and the little filters. There's back inside. One of the things I do inside is I unscrew from this water spigot, and I look at that little filter. There's a little trap in there, and you'd be surprised. The calcium chips in there, sometimes little stones. If you've used really bad water and didn't have a filter on, clear that out. And your water pump. Your water pump also has a filter. Very easy to get to. Just make sure you turn off the water and then take that little filter out. And you might have to look in your directions, but it's really simple. You just unscrew it and then dump it out and put it back in. All
I'm
right.
going to go try to distract you so you forget to do that. And then you can unscrew it and water will go all over the place. And
know.
I can have a camera ready and video it.
Yeah, but it'll go all over the place inside your RV because that's where the water pump is. All right, some quick things outside that you want to do. If you have a fifth wheel and or a travel trailer, and you've traveled some distance, and you've used it, 10,000 miles last year, at the start of the season, have somebody lube those wheel bearings. If you know how to do it yourself, great. But if not, take it to a shop or call a mobile RV tech and have them to come and lube your wheel bearings. Really important. While you're there, look at your tires, inspect them. Do they show any uneven wear? How old are those tires? Is it time to replace them? I'm talking about fifth wheel and travel trailers particularly. In your motorhome, you will have had all that stuff checked out when you do engine maintenance on your RV. Your roof. How old is your RV? What kind of a roof do you have? Are there seams and seals up there with caulk? Get up there or hire somebody to get up there and have a look to see if that caulk is dried, if the caulk is broken away, or if it's got big cracks in it. Check your awning. Look for mildew. Let it come all the way out. Clean it off if there's ugly marks on it, and look for mildew.
I sure hope you didn't put it away in the fall without checking it.
Yeah.
And making sure it was dry. No, I'm just talking about everybody out there.
Yep. And then check your lights. Hook up your units. Check all of the lights and all of the bulbs. Make sure that even your running lights, that none of them are burn out, and replace any of those. All right. So those are the big picture, the 10,000 picture. And now you're ready to go camping. So let's just see if we have anything. Bud and Sue Lenardi said that those Evo hoses that I just talked about, that he just, in fact, I should go on and underneath this, either in a separate post, I'll put a link to the filter we use from Camco and those Evo hoses. We have two 25-foot lengths of them. Then I don't like running 50 feet if I'm only 25 feet away. So, and if I am, I'll run more. It's not necessarily a maintenance thing, but get a good water pressure regulator. I forgot that. I just bought the Camco, excuse me, I just got the Camco brass with a gauge on it, and you can set the water pressure. We got a couple of smaller water filters that you just stick on, but this new one shows you the pressure coming out, and then you can adjust it to, should be 50 or below. You don't want more than 50 pounds per square inch going into your plumbing system on your RV. We just were at a campground in Alabama, and they've said right in their instructions, but you get 6 pages of single space notes, and one of them had said, do not hook up to water without a water pressure regulator on your end. And it almost popped our water lines. It was just the pressure was so high. So always check it.
And who told you?
You did. You did. So get that, and you always should have a water pressure regulator. You can get just a little one. They're very inexpensive, like $8, or you can get a $30 one that's really nice with brass fittings. Richard says, my question was, what about checking battery water levels? Well, I guess if you have AGM, you should do that, or you have wet cells. I've had lithium for 10 years now, so that isn't even on my radar. So yeah, I would assume that if you have had your RV in storage for some time, you have had some kind of a battery minder on it, or you've been topping it off. But yeah, you check your levels if that's the kind of battery you have. If it's a lithium battery, you're good to go. You don't have to do anything. It's just going to charge right up. Let's see. Tina Diltz says, I just typed this before it ended. How has anybody stayed at Avalon RV Camp in Clearwater? Not me. I don't know. Pam Miller, we are planning a cross-country trip leaving in May, and was wondering what company you recommended for roadside assistance. They're all the same. That's the big secret of it. Good Sam, CoachNet, you know, the services that your RV manufacturer provides you, they all use the same, and it's basically CoachNet. So I would just go with CoachNet. I would get an account with CoachNet. Some of them will throw in extra perks, like, you know, Good Sam gives you discounts at Camping World, and that's kind of nice. I have Good Sam, actually. And then when you buy if you have a new RV, most manufacturers toss in roadside assistance then. And Progressive will offer roadside assistance, pretty reasonable. So they're all the same, though. I've found no differences from any of them. CoachNet, Good Sam. Good Sam is what I have, and it works out really good. So all that's good. And let's see, Andrew, check the age of your tires. Well, check your tires. That's what I mentioned. Bob and Roxy Richley, thank you for talking about the cord and where they're plugged in. Thing you were talking about, I don't know what you mean. The thing you were talking about, the cord when they're plugged in. Okay, I'm not sure what that meant, but I'm having trouble reading this. It's so small. Maybe I can bring it closer to us. Here comes the camera. Ooh, closer.
Well, I think closer is better.
Yeah. Coiled, about having it coiled.
Yes, that was helpful because I'd never heard that before, the electric cord.
Well, you melancholies, it drives you nuts to see the cord like spread out all over. And I used to do like boat guys do. I would wind it all up and it was nice and neat. And it's not a good idea because particularly those of you with 50 amp service, a lot of those cords can heat up. And if it's in the hot weather, they tell me you do not want them all coiled up, the electrical cord. So spread it out, move it around, and it will be better. So I've been guilty of coiling mine up all the time too. So I don't anymore. Tisk, yeah. But come on, it would drive you nuts if you saw it messy out there. Stephen and Dee Dee Miller. Well, let's see, Steve Fisher, how much do people typically spend at Harvest Hosts? $20 is what they suggest.
Oh, is that what they suggest is 20?
You know, I mean, that's just an example, but you know, if you're at a winery, you buy a couple bottles of wine. If you're at a farmer's market, you buy some produce, you know.
Or you buy, a lot of times they sell jam or salsa at the wineries.
Alpaca farms have socks, you know, and mittens.
Yeah, there are different things that they sell.
They suggest $20, I think, is you know, just give them some business for letting you stay there. They get nothing from Harvest Host for that. So, you know, they're giving you a spot, and hopefully that will bring them some business, and you got a nice spot that you never would have else. I'm amazed sometimes people complain about, well, I'm supposed to spend money. Well, yeah, I spend money with Harvest Host. Well, Harvest Host gets that money. The winery just gets listed there as a place that you can stay, and their hope is that if you stay there, you'll buy some wine or something.
Well, I can see why people get confused.
Yeah. All right. You know, you can go on and on with all your safety checks. I see Randall's talking about brakes and emergency brake checks. Well, everybody's in different RVs, and you know, I'm assuming you guys have your RVs maintained regularly and you check them out, and before you go, you have a checklist. And that's a whole nother talk. We're just kind of talking about the big picture here. But that kind of goes without saying. You want to make sure your brakes work before you go.
Are there any suggestions as to how often you're to wash the exterior of your RV and how often you should put some kind of like wax or something on it? I know the roof, they say, once a year to
It's check. Some roofs. Now, like some roofs don't have any seams and they don't have caulk. And generally, people suggest washing it the first of the year. We didn't mention that, I don't think, when I talked about exterior. But yeah, wash it and maybe put a little wax on it. That's always good. And then, you know, if it's really dirty, like right now here in Florida, we just got the third Class B RV van that we're testing out for a series of reviews. And they drove it over from Gainesville, and it was covered. The front of it's covered with, I guess, I don't think they're love bugs yet, but there, you know, it needs to get washed off. So, you know, wash as needed, but certainly at the start of every season. Question, Stephen Dede, how do you sequence the water pressure regulator, water filter to the camper? Whatever I say, somebody's going to say, oh, I do it this way. This is what I say. You ask me. So first thing goes on the water filter. or the water pressure regulator. That goes first. That determines how much pressure is getting into the filter. Then the next thing is your filter, and then your hose that hooks up to your camper. So water regulator, filter, hose. And if you do it somewhere else, keep it a secret, and you can be smug about it. But that's what I just said is the recommended way to do it. Mary Aminga, we just traveled from Southern Texas, ready for a cleaning. Yes, I bet you are. The bugs are out there too. Richard Carrera washes the roof once a year, checks it a couple of times, washes the outside 2 or 3 times. Again, depends on how dirty it is. If you have solar panels, the start of the season, it's a good idea to get up there with a hose or a very and if you have a soft brush, you can get any dust or debris off the solar panels, because you don't want those. But be careful, you don't want a hard bristled brush, because it will scratch that glass or the covering on the panels. All of that's out there. Am I missing any? Okay, I'm just trying to go. Not calling the electric hose, no, not coiling. Okay, that was back when we talked. Let's see, snowing now in Arizona. We have it cleaned and we want and washed every 6 months. That's when Bud and Sue do it. Steve says, always be careful to not fall off the roof. Yes, Steve, that's exactly what you want. You don't want to fall through. She won't let me go up on the roof anymore.
Actually,
so I wait till she's out of town.
One of the RVs that we have been looking at the last couple of days said that the roof couldn't support.
Yeah, one of the RVs we tested.
Go up on the roof.
Was that the Nova? The first one? Yeah, the first one had a nice ladder up the roof, and it says the roof is not made to support a person. What's the ladder going up there for? I guess so you can climb up the ladder and squish stuff off and look.
You can look, but don't go climbing around up there.
Yeah, and that would be great. Thank you, Phyllis. In the chat, you'll see a couple of articles that Phyllis has linked to. These are articles on our blog that we have, and that you can find more information and everything we just said. It's kind of like you can print it out, so then you don't have to be just listening to us. So
I think that green sponge that we have to wipe down, get bugs off the front or wash your RV is a marvelous invention.
Yep. If coiling the electrical cord isn't recommended, why are automatic reels a thing? Well, because you can charge money for them. And the other thing about them is that they're really good for winding it up for storage. I had one and it never really worked well, but I was doing it with a 50 amp cord, and those are so heavy. It would work with a 30. People have them and they don't have, I'm just telling you what I've been told by people who know a whole lot more about electricity than I do, that it's not a good idea to coil your cord when it's plugged into a socket. You do as you want, but I'm telling you, the recommendation is that heat builds up too much when they're coiled up like that.
And maybe there's a lot of difference with coiling them. You know, like if you've got a Class A or a fifth wheel versus another kind, thick your
the 50 amp cords are
is.
really heavy. They're really heavy. In fact, you coil them up, they're hard to carry. But those wheels are nice, I think, for winding them up and storing them. There's like the baskets that you can get to and coil them in a basket, and then they're neat. But I trust this guy who told me, and he says, don't do it. Don't coil them. So I'm not going to do it. But I never did before. So nothing happened. So maybe it's fine. But that's my recommendation. And it's all to everybody else. Paul Nelson, we spend 75% of our travel time at Harvest Host between home and our destination. And Paul, I wonder what you spend. What do you typically spend when you're at a Harvest Host? Others weigh in on that as well. One of our questioners a while back wanted to know, what do you normally spend at Harvest Host? So add to that. Steve Fisher, we're planning a Natchez Trace trip. We were just on the Trace a week ago. We are using your guide, our book, the book we did on it, and it's great from your experience. How early do you need to arrive at one of the Trace campsites to get a spot? Good question. I would say by 3.
And it depends on if it's a holiday,
Oh, yeah.
weekend, weekday.
If it's the middle of the week, you're better off, obviously, than a weekend. If it's it's the peak of summer travel season, maybe even earlier. But 3 o'clock, I think you can be pretty sure of getting in there. We've gotten in a couple of times, and then we missed once, and we seemed we arrived about 4 or 5,
And we were
filled.
very sad.
Yeah, we were very sad because we were very tired. We were counting on it. So yeah, obviously it's their first come, first serve, and that will be good. Let's see. Bud and Sue, you can coil them when unplugged because there's no current. Absolutely, yes. I always coil it up because they store easier. But yeah, you store them coiled, but not when current's running through them. That was the recommendation that I got from a guy who knows a whole bunch more about electricity than I do. Bob and Rosie, can we mention about the tornado safety a little bit? Duck.
No, that's a very good idea. Always be aware of where you're camping, whether it's an area that floods. Be aware of the weather around you and know where to go in case that tornado siren alarm goes off. Get out of your RV.
The first question you should always ask a camp host or the people who check you into the campground is, where do we go in the event of severe weather and warnings? Oftentimes it's the best places are the shelters, are the restrooms.
Restrooms.
Yeah.
Can you believe it seems like we're hearing so many stories about flooding in campgrounds? I guess that's because
Yes.
people want to be down by the river,
Living in a van down by the river.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And ask about flooding and rivers if you're by a river, and very good. That's a really good question. And especially this time of year, although, geez, we've seen tornadoes now in wintertime. So
Yeah.
Always ask about that and have a plan. You don't want to be in an RV when there's a tornado coming. You just don't. Why do they seem to hit campgrounds and trailer parks? I don't know. I think they hit a lot of stuff, but I think that that trailer park, nobody asked that question, but you were gonna. I know you were. You were wondering that. Trailer parks and what was the Simpsons episode? They showed a trailer park, 23 days since a tornado. but it's because they come through, and they're so vulnerable. They're easy to pick up. They're very easy to pick up. So they hit every place, but I mean, they do more damage.
They do more damage because, everybody's closer together.
Yeah. And it's easy to.
And they're light.
Pick them up.
They're not anchored good.
Yeah.
House is a firmer foundation, hopefully.
Mary, back to Harvest Host question. She says it depends on what they have. I've bought gifts for family and friends at some, and they do appreciate your support. Yes, they do. And that is really awesome. As a Harvest Host, Steve and Dee Dee, we spend way more money than at a campground with wine and dinner. Wine and dinner in the camper without meal prep and dishes, priceless. There you go. Harvest Hosts are really, I think they're just so much fun because the people who own them are generally glad to have you there.
Mm-hmm.
We've gotten great tours. We love them all.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't know I think we're done with all of the questions. We want to thank you guys for joining us. Sorry that I hit the wrong button, and I'm still not sure what button I hit that disconnected this thing, but hopefully the live stream was good and you were able to pick up some stuff. Thank you for all of your tips. It's always good to see them. A couple of quick things that we're asking you to help us with. Would you please spread the word about this community? For some reason, even doing these live streams, it's just more intimate, more connected, more friendly with all of you guys than they were when we do them on Facebook or even on YouTube. So would you just do us a favor, invite some of your RV friends, or as you see people, tell them about this and ask them to come over and join. We would appreciate it. Richard says, loves the lives and better than he got a notification. Yes. We're working on a series of videos about how to get around and use the features of this site, but there's so many great things. Do you know that, for example, you can do a quick check and ask and find out who's near you? Put your location in where you are, and then it will tell you what members of the community might be in the same area you are, so you can find your neighbors. And all that's good. And there are, in your member settings, you can set what you want to get notified from as well. And you can have as few or as many notifications as you want. I'm tired. Are you tired?
No, I've just been sitting here resting. I've been going all day.
Yeah. Well, hey, you guys have all been great. Thank you for this live stream. Let us know what you'd like us to come on again about. We are still testing out RVs. We put a picture of the third one that we got this afternoon, and somebody did guess it. It is the third one is a Coachman Galleria. They've sent us 3 Coachmen now. We've tested the Nova, 20 feet, the Beyond, 22 feet, and this new one that we just got, that we have not yet really driven anywhere, which is 24 feet. We've tested 3 chassis, the ProMaster at the 20-foot level, the Ford Transit at the 22-foot length, and this new one is on the Mercedes Sprinter at 24 feet. So we'll test those, and we're going to probably do 2 more next week. So we'll end up having 5 different Class Bs that we will have tested out. I get asked all the time, are you getting a Class B? I don't think so, but you never know. Mary Jimenga, how about a Chinook? That's one I've asked to test, and it's a matter of whether it's available, but we would like to try the Chinook. We saw it and toured it at Tampa and were impressed, and we think we'd like to test it. The way we test it is we camp in it. You know, you've seen all these videos where everybody goes in and here's 3 doors, 1, 2, 3, and here's the refrigerator. Well, we know what all that stuff's like, but what are they comfortable? How do they drive? What's their acceleration? How soft is the bed, or how firm is the bed? Do you bump your head when you sit down on the sofa? Does the TV extend so far that you're going to run into it every time you walk by?
I do that.
These are all things that we're finding out on stuff. So it's been really fun. So we will have it. Biggest favor you guys can do for us is ask people to come and join this community. This would be our main platform if we could. We think this is so much fun for blog posts, for live streams, for the instant chat feature, and all of that is great. And we ask you to help us get some more people over here. Go on Facebook, invite your friends, and have them come over. All right. Anything else?
I think you pretty well covered it.
I think you did pretty good. I'm getting it all clean. Murphy's Oil Smoke. That's the perfume of a camping trip for me.
Oh, it's our house. It's our everything.
Yeah, I do think it smells good though.
Well, you're used to it.
I do. Well, Wendy's liked it because she grew up with it.
She grew up with
it. Yeah. All right. Good night. We'll see you guys. Have a great one.
Happy trails.